Hello again, it's Noob, and I finally got hold of a Covert Companion Pro. Just look at that. I mean, I have to admit that it does have a really nice presentation. I love this black box with that slightly holographic or color changing blue metallic foil logo there. Then you have the Covert Companion in the case, just really nicely presented with some little spares in here, which we'll talk about in a minute. And just look at this tool. I mean, everything about it just looks so premium and feels really nice. It's got a good weight to it as well. And when you compare it to the original Covert Companion, it's sort of night and day. Yes, I know this is cheaper, but and we will do a little not comparison, but I'll talk about how this is so superior to this a bit later as well. But you can see I've got a little mod on it, but this is basically just one of those key keepers from a Smart Key or Key Smart, or whatever it's called. That's the handles, and then you just got some washers and some tools in between, and they tend to be somewhat hard to mesh together and keep tidy and to put together as well. It's a bit of a pain to put this together. But the Covert Companion Pro, I am really impressed with. I'm not a big Covert Instruments fanboy. I just really respect and appreciate good quality tools, and this actually has exceeded any expectation I have of what Covert Instruments would have done with their Covert Companion. In fact, I would say that this is probably what the Covert Companion should always have been, but I also appreciate that this needed to happen so that this could happen. Without the popularity of this, I don't think this would have ever come to be. I can't imagine how expensive the R&D and tooling and manufacturing and finishing of this actually would have cost. It definitely commands its considerable premium price, but it's actually not as bad as you might expect either. Not for a tool of, I think, this quality. Now, if you've seen a Covert Companion before, then the tools inside this are going to be extremely familiar to you, but there are some nice additions. The original Covert Companion had actually quite an impressive array of very useful bypass tools, but it did lack some turning tools to begin with, but it also lacked a way to lock your tools in place to make them sort of more usable. I have a simple mod here which actually allows you to turn your picks like that, and then you can press down on these and they don't go anywhere. But this is a sort of a homemade aftermarket part. The Covert Companion Pro, however, wow, it has pretty much every feature you can possibly ask for. Let's start with the turning tools we mentioned earlier. Oh, and this is timely as well. There's a bypass driver for American lock style locks as well in there, which we'll have a play with a bit later. But now this you could buy as an expansion for the original Covert Companion, a set of top of the keyway and bottom of the keyway turning tools like this. But this comes built in. It's all assembled for you already. And just look how neatly these slide in and come out. So that is really cool. So it's not an expansion, it just is as standard. So you actually get turning tools in this as well. And just look how neatly it all clips together. Then you have a load of bypass tools on, well, both sides. But here we've got some wafer lock jigglers here. We have a bypass knife. And we do have the padlock shim here. All of the tools fold down very nicely and tidily and are held in strongly by friction. I'm sure if you whacked it about a bit, they might come a bit loose, but it seems to be nice and tight, and you can tighten the screws down a little bit more if you wish. All the tools can be lifted up by these little tabs on this side. Look at that. So that's really, really, really useful as well. If we look at the other side, we have a belt loop, which you can take off if you want. We'll come on to that in a second. And then we have a load of tools this side as well. We have our comb picks here, a traveller's hook and a dimple rake. And this is where you have all your hooks and rakes. And I just love this. Watch this. It's all held in, not going to come out, and you just gently pull on this. And this is like a little sprung, almost like a ball detent there. And then this can be all folded out to show you've got a couple of rakes here, a quad and a quint rake, a flat top short hook, a medium hook, a deep hook, and like a spoon hook. Not my favourite profile, but all things considered, I really like that. And then these fold back, and you can see how there's a little spring there, and that means that this will hold down quite nicely. Not like too tight, it will lift up if you want it to, but it does keep everything nice and straight, and it locks it in quite neatly. I mean, it's Such a neat little design for a tiny little finger pick, a pocket pick. So cool. And when you finish, you can just press down here. It all folds back into itself. And then you can slot the whole thing, the cassette if you will, back into the Covert Companion. Like that. Fold it down and you're good to go. But there is one more little secret thing on here. Can you see where it might be? Yep, you might have spotted it at the end. This is where the 4-wheel combination padlock bypass tool and decoder sits. It's very, very thin. So this is a great way of protecting that tool. I do hope that they actually sell spares of these at some point, because I can imagine that they're very thin. They bend over time when they get used, and having a fresh one just to slide in there would be very useful. Another thing about this is that it's serviceable. Everything can be undone, tightened or loosened as you want. Again, I wouldn't necessarily go around messing with that straight out of the pack, but as things, get used and may become a bit loose, you can all tighten things up. Inside the box, you also get a little pack of tools and some spacers. Very useful hex key, a little metal spacer for covering the gap if you want to take the belt loop off, an adapter for making a keychain loop. So if you didn't want the belt loop on, you could remove the screws using the hex key, slide off the belt loop, then either insert this spacer to close the gap, or pop in the other spacer to give you that keychain loop. And then of course add your screws back in. Now I think it's time to do some demonstrations. I think I've demonstrated a lot of the tools in the Covert Companion already in its original form, but I'm going to choose a few of my sort of favourite ones or the most unusual tools in this kit and do a few demos for you, just because it's really good fun to do that. And I'll see you in a second. This is a 6-pin comb pick and a Master Lock Pro puck lock, and if we align this just right and lift up, we should be able to get that lock open. There we go, all unlocked. I want to use this dimple rake, so we'll need a turning tool. So I'll just get my turning tools out. There we go. I have a suitably cheap Chinese dimple lock. Pop my turning tool in, have my dimple rake, and we'll slide that in and just give this a very light rake with a tiny amount of turning force. And see what, there we got the open, there we go. So this is new to the Covert Companion, which is this bypass driver for American Lock 1100 series padlocks and their clones when they're not shielded. And we can take this driver, pop it down the keyway like this, and then by turning this back and forwards a little bit, you should be able to just get that engaged with the actuator at the back. And once you have, you can give it a gentle turn like this, and we pop the shackle open. A bypass knife here, very useful for a number of things, but little padlocks which are latch locks, there you go, can be bypassed using a knife. And the knife can be used for other bypasses, like a pull bypass on some locks like this. So here's a little padlock, there you go, just drag the pulls back and it's open. I have a couple of warded padlocks here, and I've chosen one of the warded padlock bypass tools to get these open. So just find the little latch at the end, that's one. And then this is another one. I never know which way to turn for this one. Oh, I've got that straight away. There you go. Let's do some wafer lock jiggling now. Got a vintage wafer lock here, which if I give a little wriggle and a jiggle and a little bit of a rake, yeah, there we go. Got that open. Shall we try this little combination padlock bypass tool? And I have a suitable candidate here. I'll scramble that up. It's a Master Lock, is it 178? And we'll slide our tool between the wheels here like this. It's nice and slim. Get that angle down. Rest it against the surface if you can. Pinch, press, lift, and we're open. Now I think I'd better pick some locks. Let's try to rake something first. Got this nice chunky Squire padlock here. And at the bottom of the keyway turner. Just make sure I've got good tension on that. I do. Then we'll grab the quint rake, I think, and pop that in and see what I can't. Oh, already opened. Because we can, I've got a little quad rake here and a Master Lock 3. These are super common locks, so just make sure I don't get caught up by the rivets in the lock. I pop my rake in and give that a nice, oh, and again we're already open. I really want to round the video out on a picking of an American Lock 1100 series padlock, one of my favourites. I've got a 50,000th of an inch top of the keyway turner, just like that, and the deepest hook, because we're going to go through the keyway. So that's pin 5, 2 little clicks, pin 4 little click, pin 2 here, cancel rotation, just sliding that turning tool up, don't want to lose that. Checking pin 1 feels good, back to pin 5 at the back, cancel rotation, very gentle. Don't want to overset anything there, so just go back through the lock, just testing all the pins as I go. And we've got back into a full set, just test 5 again. There we go, I think I set that properly. Nothing on 4, nothing on 3, a little click on 3 actually, nothing on 2, nothing on pin 1. In fact, I was moving the turning tool out of the way. Back again, I can't feel anything on 5, can't feel anything on 4 or 3. Little cancel rotation here on pin 2, it feels like. And almost lost my turning tool again. Got to use very light tension. This is pin 5, sorry, and we are open. There we go. And we can close this back up and slot it back where it belongs. Then I'm going to put all my turning tools back in, and they fit in so nice and neatly. I love that. Pop the cover on, back in it goes. Isn't that great? So time for some conclusions. What do I think to the Covert Companion Pro? I have no notes. It's actually exceeded my expectations of it. It's extremely well made. I think it looks great. It's packaged really well. It's got pretty much every type of tool you could possibly need for bypasses, lock picking. It's got turning tools integrated. It's got a belt hook. It's got spacers, so you can choose to put a keychain loop on there or nothing at all if you wish. I really don't have anything bad to say about this at all. I think it's extremely well made, extremely well designed, really well appointed, really well finished. All the tools are nice and shaped and rounded and usable. There's nothing that doesn't work as it's intended. It's just really, really nice. And if you were interested in a lockpick set / EDC carry bypass tool set that's nice and compact and looks this smart, I'd say just go for it. When you compare to how far the Covert Companion's gone from something which is fun and usable but a bit messy, and the tools don't really stay in, and there isn't really a keychain loop on it, and you have to hold the picks funny because it all flops about, and you have to buy the turning tools separately and add them in as well, which makes it even more bulky. When you compare this, which is a fun tool, don't get me wrong, to this, it really is night and day. There is obviously a bit of a price hike. This is $150, which I paid for with my own money, which is around £114.16 in UK money at the time of recording. Obviously, prices will change, exchange rates will vary over time, but that's at the time I was filming. And I have to say, I think that is actually a really, really good price. Now, it's quite a lot of money. It's objectively a lot of money. But for what you get, how well made this is, I gotta say, I think you could spend your money in worse ways. I really do. And like I said, I'm not a Covert Instruments fanboy. I have bought this with my own money out of curiosity and to do this review. And it's so nice to find a tool which actually exceeds your expectations. Is there every tool that I want in here? There are a couple of other things that I would throw in. Yeah, sure. And if you're really curious as to what else I would want in this, and I know that you've got to be careful with size, but a couple more comb picks would be really handy. I wouldn't mind a stronger, thicker bypass knife. And out of all of the warded lock bypass tools, the one profile that I do like the most is actually not in here, which is this sort of dogleg one. But I don't think any of those are necessary additions. What you get here is really, really good. And yeah, I just have no real notes. This is pretty much as good as it gets. Yes, there's a couple of things that if I was extraordinarily greedy, I'd want to add in there too. But that doesn't mean that what is in here is in any way bad or there's anything like missing. It's just preference. It's really, really good. I would say that if you don't have the money for one of these, you could go for this, but I would probably save up to try and go for this instead. It is just better in every way. And I would love to know your thoughts on this tool in the comments below. Whether you are a Covert Instruments fan or not, what do you think to this? Are you as impressed with it as I am? I would absolutely love to know. Anyway, if you like this video, leave a like. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be next notified when I release content. Otherwise, stay safe, happy picking, and I'll see you all next time.